Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dice Hoses, episode 5 of the podcast. How you going? How you doing?
Wonderful.
Good. So it's Craig here again, and with my co-host, the big DG. And then if you could say hello when I call out your name, so Mr. Murray.
Hello.
Wearing one of our various club T-shirts that we went through.
We should change the name back. I like this name. It's a good name.
Oh, you sort of. And we've got Mr. Stewart, not Stewart.
Hey.
And then he who shall not be named Chelsea fan, Kevster.
Hey.
Okay, awesome. So welcome back, guys, and episode 5. I don't know if that's good or bad.
We've made it halfway through the first set of numbers.
That is true so far.
Halfway.
We now have more episodes than we do followers.
This is true.
Yeah. That is. That is true. Although our website's doing all right with 18, so we're only up.
That's just Google.
Yeah. Yes.
The Google bots.
Yeah. Well, I'm about to just start getting into search engine optimization stuff, so maybe it's something I can figure out and.
Oh, that's a rabbit hole. I was doing that
Pay
for my
Google
business.
to do. It's all artificial intelligence driven nowadays, so.
Pretty much.
The title, you have to put a bunch of words, which I won't mention here, and we'll get into searches all the time.
Yeah, that's right. Just put OnlyFans, beer, whiskey, and bolt action's the last thing in there. Okay, so today's agenda is going to be, I'm going to go over events, what upcoming events there are, and then we're going to debrief Battle of Burlington, which Dice Hoses hosted and was the first event that we ran. Then we're going to talk about my 3-hour drive up to Kingston, played bolt action in 3 hours back.
Is that the one where you played with all the guys from this area?
Yeah, that's pretty much right. I think there was about 12 of us, of which 3 were from Kingston, and the rest were everyone from Critical Hit or Hamilton. So it was just like, we could have just gone somewhere else.
You could have just targeted.
But it was fun. So we'll talk about that. Talk about Operation Catapult, which is the first time Dice Hoses is running a bolt action event. What hobby we've been up to, and then of course our outro when we finish. So Derrick, before we dive on in, any thing on the agenda that you looking forward to chatting about?
Well, I got to play my first TO, so I'm kind of looking forward to you guys rating my my Battle of Burlington, or our Battle of Burlington tournament that I kind of ran. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Throw myself under the bus because I know there's no mercy here, so that'll be interesting. Especially because I left all the notes that I brought and wanted. I left them at work.
Yeah. Okay.
Other than that, it's more interest in what everybody's doing for hobbying in the upcoming times, because we kind of got like 3 or 4 projects each, it seems like, on the go.
Yeah, and we've got Adepticon and some stuff to do for that and that. So yeah, there's going to be
there's lots
some furious painting taking place.
Yeah, and the Decepticon sneaks up fast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Oh, come on. I've never painted in the car on the way to Adepticon.
Yeah, and never glued miniatures to the bases and stuff at the table the morning of. And...
Yeah.
So,
that's definitely a Derrick tradition.
Yeah. It gives you something to do on the way, right? And in my defense, it was still one of the better painted armies down there. I didn't even have to paint it on the way down. So hey, let's start this off with your the flanking operations in I guess we got to do the events that are coming up. That's what I'm looking at. So what do we have coming up here, Craig?
So we've got flanking operations, which is bolt action at critical hit.
That's next Saturday.
Yeah, that's going to be. The guys there have got some new tables, some new terrain, so that's going to be pretty sweet. I believe they're also using the Juggernaut podcast format as well, which was used at Kingston, which we'll touch on. So they're going to be running that. I'm hoping to be able to get down next week to go see them. But the missus, being a teacher, she's got report cards to do over the next 3 weeks. So I don't know if she's going to let me have fun while she's not. So we'll see what happens.
Sounds like she wants you out of the house so she can do report.
No. She wants me out of the house. She just wants me out of the house with the kids.
Right?
I see. Yeah. So that's the key word. And then Operation Catapult, which is the Dice Hosers hosting at Tistaminis, and that's on the 25th of November, which we will talk about later in the show. So they're the two events. I think they're the last bolt action events of the year.
Unless somebody else slots something in somewhere.
Somebody slots them in, but I think it's been a good year for bolt action tournaments, to be honest, this year. I think it's been interesting to see the community growing and such. So I think there's a lot more to do, but I think 2023 has been a good year from a community events perspective.
Did we talk about Mecca that we all went to on the last podcast?
That's a good question. Yes, we did.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. Because that's... Did I win that one?
Yes.
Yes, that's right, because I won that one. I won the Testaminis one, but there was one I came third at. I can't remember which. I thought that was the one in
Kingston.
Critical Hit. So, cool. Okay. Battle of Burlington, Blood Red Skies. Mr. D, let's hand that over to you.
It was an interesting being a TO, being on the other side for the first time. Really, like, I've kind of helped out while playing, or everybody's kind of done that lend a hand when needed type thing. But to actually be running it, even though it was fairly small, I think we had 10 guys, 3 young bloods, 7 players, or 7 non-young bloods, or didn't identify as young bloods, Kevin. So being on the other side and seeing how much effort is put into, like, you guys obviously helped me set up and rip down, which was awesome, but it's kind of stressful getting all the scores in, and then like, I found out in the third, right at the very end, I found out that we'd misscored somebody, Matt, and right. It totally threw everything off, because it's one of those things, like, I know it's wrong, so I have to adjust it because I don't want to screw somebody, but at the same time, like, so here's a spoiler for anybody listening. Matt came in third, but it was originally Craig. So I've got the nice little what are they called? Certificates from Warlord, and I've already like nicely wrote Craig into it as the third place. So then I just said, screw this, drew a line through it, draw Matt on it, apologized to Craig and said, this is the best I can do. Then Sean came in second place that one time in Plains. But overall, it was fun to run. Everybody's had a good time. Dipped out, got pizza, came back, and while I was out, I did a quick errand for the wife that was losing her mind, which is also cool because I wasn't playing. I didn't feel the stress of, like, oh, damn it, my wife's calling again. So we had Joe, Craig, your son, came in first. I think Liam was second. My son Chase was third. So he got the other game support. Here, try something different. Planes are not your thing. And it was awesome because the one guy came in late, so he missed the first game, and I was able to swing the buyout to play in with the young bloods as a buy. So that was kind of nice, so that they didn't feel like, oh, we're kids relegated to the kid table, like every one of the kids played an adult at some point in time, whether it was me, Craig, Matt, I think that was the 3. Or Kevin, you played one too? Yeah, okay. I thought there was more than 3 games. So,
Oh,
Yeah, and I have to say, Liam had me on the ropes. Like I was like, he knew his stuff, and I was just thinking, oh my gosh, I wasn't slow playing. I wasn't doing that, but I was hoping that timer was going to come up because I was thinking, oh my gosh, if this goes on for a couple more rounds, I'm done. Like he's got me. So
I was
I
slow
was,
playing.
I was
That's
just
a
like,
bit of-
oh my gosh, like
yeah, he's
don't
pretty
be so
solid on the
fucking-
rules that he's playing, the games that he's playing. He's starting to pick it up, and he's starting to get it.
Yeah, I think Liam would be. I could see Liam becoming a good player at game systems down the road.
Yeah.
Like I think he's someone who can get the mechanics, and I think with time then would get the strategy
Yeah.
like that. And I think he's pretty sharp at that. So I think that Liam will be someone that we'll see
Something
as
to
a
watch.
young dice hoser down the road.
I think that's where we're going to have to be a team, though. It's like he can play, and I'll build and paint for him. And here's your army, go for it, because
Yeah.
he'll play better than I will.
Well, you might win as long as he's rolling your dice.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely does not have the Matthew Stewart dice rolling.
No, not
competence.
at
Yeah.
all. He was dropping 6s like he owned them when I played him too.
Yeah.
Almost wondering if his dad packed his dice for him.
No, I wouldn't.
So we played. I guess this should be you guys. Well, let's do the event overview and how we felt about it all. So first, we'll start with the location, which was nicely provided by the wife of Matt. Her dog training facility had a nice flat open area with those foam jigsaw kind of
Cushy mat.
pieces, cushy mats. So it was nice to stand on because it was over concrete, but nobody was really complaining about my back is killing me. And it was close by. So Craig, Sean, Matt, Kevin. Let's start with Kevin first. What was your? How did you feel about the location of the tournament?
Out of 6 as well.
Yes.
Screwing
Oh,
out.
the location was great, especially when I was there first thing Saturday morning, and
The day before.
yeah, nobody else was there, and I wondered where people were.
Yes. For the listeners, I can't play on Saturdays, so we made it Sunday so I could actually go out and play. And Kevin showed up. He was just trying to find the location, make sure he wasn't late the next day.
Yeah, that was it. But what are we rating it out of?
6.
6. The location, I would give it I got to give it a 6. It was clean. It was nice. It had squishy floors. We had the big back door open, so there was lots of
Fresh air.
like it was. But I think that comes down to the owner of the unit cleaned it and mopped it, and I got to give a big thank you out to them for making it like immaculate for us to be there.
All right, Sean, what did you feel?
I like the location in Burlington, even though like I'm from Niagara. That reminds me of the time Lieutenant Governor John Graves Simcoe was visiting Joseph Brandt's house,
There you
which
go.
wasn't Burlington yet, of course, but it would be Burlington. He was just telling him he was going to make a road all the way to London for settlers to go down, and he was having beer there, and he complimented Joseph on the beer, and Brandt said "Naiowen Kihawahi." So obviously that means thank you very much, my friend. But Simcoe thought he said Niagara Glen. So he thought the beer come from Niagara. So he preferred going to Niagara for beer after that, which was unfortunate. But so that's why I thought Burlington was an okay location.
Always here for comedy. Matt, your take.
Oh, we didn't get a score from John.
I
that's right,
would give it
that's right,
a
history.
5. Oh, the only 6 would have been Beamsville, so 5.
I've never heard 6 in Beamsville other than if it's out of 10. Usually I'm rating stuff out of it's more like a 3 or 4. Yeah,
All right, the biased one, Matt.
the biased. Well, yeah, I love the location because I could stumble there. But yeah, I got to work on the lighting. We're swapping out the lights, so hopefully it'll be brighter next time. Put in LEDs. So, maybe that might be my eyes because I'm getting old too. I just find dimmer areas are not the best for gaming.
Oh, I didn't find that dim, but
Yeah, I just compared to like my gaming room here
I see,
is I get used to playing here at Craig's garage where it's quite a bit brighter, and then you go to it's a warehouse, right?
Yeah, it
so
was warehouse bright, so I could see.
yeah, so you've got the high ceilings with the lighting way up high and that. So that's a 4.5, 5.
Matt, when you do the new lighting, you should look at some sort of automatic switch so the lights lower down and we can stop them just above, say 8 feet, and they're above each table. And then you flip the switch and they go back up.
And then we have to increase.
I love
the,
how Kevin
price.
always assumes that one of us has just recently won the lotto. What was your
What
score,
was your
Matt?
score? Sorry, what was your score, Matt?
Say 4.5 or 5.
Was it 4 or is it 5?
That sounded like a 4.5 to me.
I'll have to go with 5 because I don't want to sleep on the couch tonight.
I was just going to say, I think you're sleeping on the couch tonight because you didn't give it a 6.
And Craig, what
Well-
are you at?
Why wait now? 6 would be the Warplane Heritage Museum would be a 6.
Yes.
Everything else is a 5.
That'd be a 7 or 8.
But that
Yeah,
also be a
um,
large
I-
event too.
Yeah, it would be a good event. So I would say that I thought the location was great. I think that the fact that it was clean, there was a lot of space. There was a lot of space to grow in there. I think it was pretty cool. I think that was there much parking there? I know some people had to park around the back.
Yeah, that would
If we had
be
a lot more.
Yeah, but on
because
Sunday
there's-
they weren't supposed. We weren't allowed to park in front of anybody else's, but it was Sunday, so nobody cared, type thing.
Well,
So
but if there's more people that come in the future, where would people be? Is there
I know
people
that-
parking around the back?
yeah, there was parking
Yeah.
on the back.
Okay, then it's good. So
Yeah,
yeah,
neighbors too. See if we can park in front of their places.
Yeah, because the neighbor was there. So I asked Kyle if he could just move over one. He didn't care. It was
Yeah.
fine.
That was actually the landlord.
Yeah.
So he's a
so,
He waved at me through the window.
yeah, I think I liked it. I think I would give it probably a 5. I think that there's just like little things it's not built for this purpose, right? But for what it was is great, and I think there's definitely potential. Like I definitely like the idea when we do the GT next year, if we host it there, is having a cage match for the top table because there is a cage
That
there.
little
So I
cage,
think
that
that'd
is
be
awesome.
I think that'd be fun, and we live stream that one.
Yeah, I was actually thinking we could put people in there and live stream because you'd be holding everybody back by the fact that there is that caged area, and then we could put all the equipment in there with the table and not worry about people breaking over it. So that would be a great idea.
Yeah,
shot.
yeah. So I think the only things that would have bumped it up for me, one, I agree, would be if it was like the Warplay Museum or something like that, and sold alcohol, or was had product. But other than that, it's great. Definitely, I give it a
I
5.
had alcohol.
So that's-
I had alcohol.
5.25 out of 6. Starting with a pack, let's get our history lesson from Sean. Sean, what did you think of the tournament pack?
Well, the tournament pack was okay. I'm trying to think if there was anything missing from it. I don't think there was.
And just for reference, everybody, we used Lead Pursuit's tournament rules and
That's
pack.
right.
So
It was
pretty-
complete. It was in the proper order. Everybody had one. And and you handed out the conditions for each table. We had the conditions on the table.
Yeah.
For that you got to choose from, so that was good. You didn't have to look up your own cards for the theater.
Excellent. So out of 6.
Giving this a 6.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, it's can't complain about anything that Lead Pursuit does. So I definitely say 6 then. I like the choice of the conditions. Like can't think of them any of them right now. I've been so focused on bolt action lately.
Yeah, well, no, it was the conditions were like storm,
Radar,
radar
and
support, and
yeah.
all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there was maybe a few that were overlapping in multiple games, but
I
probably
think that's
have to
because
do
the
that
limited amount that you have available.
yeah. So it's hard to criticize that.
Kevin.
Yes. I liked them. I like the fact that the cards were on the table, like Sean said, so you didn't have to dig through your own, which if you bought in any of the faction cards, say Japanese, for instance, and it doesn't come with half the cards you need to play the Japanese, that's a whole other kettle of fish. But that was good. The way it was stapled so that the back page was the one you turn in, that was great. I give it it could have been on a thicker card stock and perhaps in color. I'll give it a 5.
In colors, just my ink ran out of you. Butthead.
All right, Craig.
If it had been on like a nice old parchment, like an old beige or something, or if you burn the edges like we used to, and stuff like that, and it would have been a little.
You're printing cards for next time.
Yeah, exactly. You
I mean, I'm going to use your.
Volunteer.
All right, Craig. What did you think of the pack?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it would be better formatted. It should be better formatted. This is as the person who took the Lead Pursuit podcast stuff, which I think is awesome,
Yep.
and put it together. But I would say in the future, I think it would be nicer to clean it up and format it.
That's
And
the
stuff,
only
but
thing
I-
have to.
Yeah, but I think everything else makes sense. It's everything you need is where it needs to be. Like the cards, the storm cards and stuff, the theatre cards being laid out and stuff. It was good. Yeah. So I give it a 5.
Like it's a 5.5. All right, Matt. Next up is the TO. No, you know what? Let's skip that one. Let's go right to the atmosphere.
No. Let's go right back to Dio.
No. Let's do atmosphere. We will do TO. We'll just do it last.
Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, but let's burn me at the end. We get the comic relief later. Atmosphere. Matt, how did you find the atmosphere when you were at the table?
Guys are great. Yeah, like a couple of the new guys that I met Kyle beforehand, and is it Dave or
Tony.
Tony.
Tony? Sorry, Tony. Great guys. So had lots of fun. Loved my last game against Sean. It's like, let's just roll dice. Come on, move, die.
That's how Sean plays all his games.
I know,
That's
yeah. So, don't think about it, just move. Okay. And it was actually, it's funny because it was like all the games were really enjoyable. It's just that one because it felt like it took the pressure off. So it was so much fun. Had a great time. I'd say I haven't played a lot of tournaments lately, so let's go for a 6.
All right.
Like we're patting ourselves on the back on this one.
I know we're the best. Well, amazingly, that they got the highest rated event.
Going into this atmosphere, Kevin.
I thought it was good. Everybody got along well, and Kyle and Tony were good, talking to them and stuff. Good guys. Glad they made it out so that it wasn't just us and the Munchkins. But hopefully word will get out that it was a phenomenal event and in a great venue and stuff. And then the next thing we do, lots of people will want to be there. I give it a 5. Just because we didn't have a cage match. That was a good idea.
And Sean, how was your atmosphere? I mean, I know it was a long tread out from Beamsville, but
But it's right beside my office, so it's a normal drive for me.
Literally across the train tracks.
That's right. I could have parked at my office and been there just about as quick. The
Hey, that solves parking.
Yes,
That's
we
right.
just solved the parking conundrum.
well, there's a fence in the way, but a little
There's holes in
yep,
that
we
fence.
solved that problem.
There's holes in that fence.
Kevin, I think the numbers were influenced by the rarity of players for Blood Red Skies.
Yeah.
I think the onus will be on us to grow the game through word of mouth, talking about it, getting people interested. We have to leverage stores who sell Blood Red Skies, which is really just Mecca and Tista.
Yeah.
But just getting it's a fun, just roll dice game. The fact that we can get 4 games in a day is great. And I think maybe we should put out some battle reports on it. I'm diverging, but anyways, maybe we should put out some battle reports on it to show that it's not really okay. Just roll 6s, yes, but all you're really trying to do is get advantage on the other planes and not get somebody tailing you. That's the whole game, because it's just who can get the most hits quickest. So it's all about getting the shots off and stopping the other guy from shooting you by keeping your nose up, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's the game. Keep your nose up, move around, keep your nose up. That's the game. So some battle reports showing that would be good, and then build up the numbers. Then you'll see. I think this game has a niche because it's inexpensive to get into,
Yes.
and it's still historical. It's still nice. So I think it's a natural fit for all the historical players in the area, which are bolt action pretty much right now that Flames of War is sleeping. Although in Hamilton, there's a lot of Napoleonics going on in Hamilton, and a lot of historicals going on there. If we could tap into that stream, I think we would, just naturally pick up people who are interested in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
no,
this
I agree
John
with that.
telling us that we need to start painting our Napoleonics?
Yeah, so we're gonna have to infiltrate that group.
Epic.
I think we'll have to get some people in there who can grow beards. So anybody, there's Craig, Kevin, yeah. So get your beards going, and then get into that group of beardies. They're all neck beards. Get in there, and talk it up. As for atmosphere, location's good. Atmosphere could be better because we didn't decorate, I guess. But the players and everything is great. But had there been a few things around to show that we were actually in a gaming event, that would have been nice. So 5.
All right.
Yeah, so I would agree with Sean on that for the most part. I would say the players were good. They made the atmosphere, which was great. I think maybe next time playing some Battle of Britain air music and stuff on in the background might be fun. Like I say, if we put up a bit
Couple
of
of air raids.
yeah, up to POS stuff of dice hoses and Blood Red Skies and stuff again would be fun. Like I agree. I think if there's probably some, and alcohol's always fun where appropriate. So I think there's things that we can do to bump that up. So players were great. I just think needs a bit more. So I would give it a 4.
Perfect.
I gotta talk to Anna Marie about the alcohol then. see if we can do that.
No, you
Yes.
can't.
No,
Because I brought some and I asked first and I was given permission, so I had the one and that was it.
You're given permission, but
Yes.
technically you can't. The Anne-Marie would have to go
Maybe.
and get us a special
Yeah.
event.
You can't because you have to buy it, or you can't. What's the can't?
No, I'm thinking maybe
You could take it, you
can.
just can't sell it,
Take
right?
Yes,
Yeah, I
you cannot
think
sell
maybe
it.
we
You need
can.
legally, you need a special event permit, unless everybody's out in the parking lot, in which case you're taking your.
You can't drink outside there, right?
No, can't drink
If it's-
outside.
It's a private establishment that is not selling alcohol or anything. You're having a private gathering. You're allowed to have alcohol without the permit.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was
I'll take
thinking.
one then. As
There
long
might
as
be a
I guess
loophole.
as long as you're, it's
Confirm
a
that.
BYIB, but I'd rather have proof.
Yeah, no, but I agree. I think I agree with Kevin on that one. But yeah, we should
Because-
double that. But it would be cool if feasible.
Yes.
Yeah, I know lots of
Not to sell, just to
business-
bring your own, right?
Yeah, when they're closed, they lock the door. There's nobody allowed in. It's guests only, and they cracking beers and having stuff and this a bunch of different because it's not
But you
As
also
long
got
as
to
it's
think
closed to the public.
in those conditions too. The cops are never called because everybody that's drinking wants to be drinking, and two, the cops have got better things to do than go after people like in those conditions. So my point is, yeah, you may be doing it, but I'm not sure it's entirely legal. But
Yeah, we'll look into it.
yeah, exactly. It's just something to look into. Anyways, the atmosphere for me on my side, I thought it was great. Everybody seemed to be having fun. I didn't have to make any real rules decisions for anybody that may or may not have changed the course of a game. Everybody seemed to be pretty solid on the rules, as it were. There was no, like, as a TO, the last thing you want to do is get in the middle or see a conflict, let alone have to get in the middle of a conflict. And that was the one thing I was dreading, although I knew we had a pretty good group of guys going into it. But, tempers kind of can rise. But I also think that one of the reasons it didn't is this game isn't quite as competitive as some other games where those things can have a greater propensity to develop. And there is also not as depth of rules or rules interactions. So I think that also alleviates the necessity for a TO to step in and make a call on how something should work or how two rules interact with each other. Much like we are always saying about a lot of these historical games, is a gun's a gun, a tank's a tank. Generally, everybody knows how they should work. So I know I switched the order, but let's do it. Let the roasting commence.
Jeez, what a jerk that guy was.
Yeah. Okay, we'll start with you then, Craig. TO.
Yes.
How did the TO do?
I would have to say that. So I would say two things. I'd say, first of all, that the TO just had to turn up because all the work was done up front, which is fine. That's no problem. But when the TO did turn up, I would say that he did an excellent job. Kept everything running, everything on time, got the pizzas, helped out with the young bloods, jumped in where he needed to. I don't have a bad word to say about the TO. So, and jumped in when needed to make a ruling or follow up on something. So I'm going to give a 6.
You remember I was the TO, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
just making sure you're thinking about the right event. Matt,
You know,
let's
so
go with
last-
you.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, like everything run well. Would have been nice had the awards been done properly, names spelt correctly and not crossed out in secondhand.
You know, when
Yeah,
the
that's-
I
players
remember
misreport their
actually though,
scores.
Matt.
Keep quiet.
That was a scoring incompetence by the player, not the TO.
It's not
That
the way I
guy
saw
over
it.
there just said it.
It's not the way I saw it. So I don't know. Yeah, no, that was totally. No, it was great. I'm gonna give. I can't give you perfect. So yeah, 5.
That's the way it's gonna be, eh?
Oh.
All right. Let's go with. No, I'm waiting. Sean's gonna go last on this. Kev, go ahead.
I thought the person that brought the ice and the cooler did a phenomenal job. The water I had was nice and just chilled perfectly, like a nice rosé should be or something.
You're welcome.
The ice show early.
So hats off to the person that brought the cooler and the ice, whoever you are.
Yeah.
The TO, I think, he stepped in. I had a few questions because before this, I'd only ever played 1 or 2 games, I think, and so I didn't know any of the rules, basically,
Put him
except
with the young bloods. That would have.
I knew
evened
a
out
few of
both.
them, but when I played, who did I play? When I played Chase, to avoid being destroyed, I had to double check on a few rules to make sure that, and then so that was because he was going to shoot me down left, right, and center. But thankfully, the TO came in and I was able to only lose a little bit. But
I
he
will
did a
be
good
honest.
job.
That was probably the one game that I had to talk to the most was when you were playing with Chase. Even Craig
Because-
took his licks from Liam without asking as many questions.
He and Chase were both asking. Chase would say, "Okay, I can do this, right?" And I'm like, I think so. I'm like, hold on, let's go ask.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, you can't do that. Okay, no, you can't do that. Hey, okay, you do this. Yeah, you can do that. Okay, shoot me there. Da, da, da. And then I would say to Chase, okay, I can do this, right? And he'd say, I don't know. And then he'd go ask, and then he'd come back. So it worked out. But all in all, I think he did good. He was organized. He could learn a little calligraphy or something, do the names on the next, first, second, and third and stuff. That would be nice if it was nice calligraphy or something. But I would give him all in all, I give him a 5. I was looking a little bit up here, but I saw what you did.
Sean, go ahead.
So it was your first time. You did a good job.
That's what
I
did a
showed
good
up.
job.
I showed up.
Yeah. You cared a lot, which was nice. I think you've learned some important lessons on what you can do better. If not, they've been highlighted for you. You know, the penned in name, not even a last name, a little more care given on the award,
calligraphy.
as that falls under one of your is one of your jobs. I don't even know what the second line is for, but that was good. I mean, the organization, getting the tables lined up and everything was pretty good. The you didn't make sure that the little packs of cards were ready for each round. That would have been nice. They were being organized that at a time. But he delegated to you, but somehow
That's
he's
right.
still kind of responsible for that. What else did you do wrong? Oh yeah, lunch rolls around and you go, oh yeah, pizza. No, that doesn't cut it. You want to get that lined up about a half hour before lunch, so when lunch rolls around, the pizza's rolling in. Other than that, some good stuff. Good job, Derrick.
No holds barred.
So is that 4 or 3?
I'll give you a 4.
Sorry if I'm fidgeting too much here. My knee is killing me because I can't sit down for extended periods of time.
Excellent. All right. So, Craig, I'll let you do all the tallies because you were writing them down there.
So overall score is 20.25 out of
You had location twice, so
yeah. No, that's So okay. So the overall,
because it should be at a 20, I think, or
30.
no, 24.
yeah. So 20.25 out of 24.
Yay me for my first time.
Hmm.
All right. So that was our first tournament. Now let's talk about our second one, which is actually going to be a bolt action tournament. We're going to be holding it at Tista Minis, and Craig, you've been doing most of the talking and organizing for this, so why don't you lead us into this?
So this is going to be November 25th, and Operation Catapult. If we could, we wanted it on a Sunday, but it's just unfortunately the store just it doesn't work for them. So it's got to be a Saturday.
That's all right. I closed my store down on Saturday.
Yeah,
so
that's
I
all
can
right. We
go.
appreciate that. It's going to be early. Standing out people sounds like there's potential to be between 12 to 16 players, which will be pretty cool if that does happen. I think we're going to do. It's going to be $25 entry, but that does go towards prizes, and there is pizza and soda in that price as well. We've got it that the store's going to open up earlier so that we can start earlier. So each of the rounds is going to be 2.5 hours rather than 2 hours. I find that 2 hours at 1,000 points is just such a stretch. It's a tight fit to get that in. And I Also, I'm choosing scenarios. Oh, I've got to be careful I don't give too much away. But choosing scenarios where there is no reserve setup. I.e., what I mean is you don't take dice out of the bag to see where you set up. Everything either starts on the table or is a wave one, because you need to save time, right? That deployment is just...
I thought Juggernaut doesn't have any reserve.
We're not playing Juggernaut missions. We're playing Bolt Action Alliance.
Oh, Bolt Action Alliance. Yeah, but I thought they took that out too. I thought they put it as...
May have done.
So my understanding of their reserves is the dice are out of the bag for whatever
Yes.
you put in reserve, and on first turn those dice are out. Like they're not in the bag, and you just use what is coming in on your first wave.
Yeah, as long as it's first wave. So there's So
Oh, I guess that's what you
that's
just
how
said.
we use it. Yeah. So there's not going to be any
Down,
picking
down,
dice out
down.
and it's just.
It's such a
I mean,
waste.
theoretically, you could do it a 2.5 hour game because we are playing an extra 30 minutes. But I think just the fact that we're doing it this way means that most players will get a good 2 hours, 25 minutes, right? So that 25 minutes can be an extra round, maybe even two.
Could be
Because
the
we need
fourth
to
or
you need
fifth
to try and
round.
get to at least 5, but there are games that are only against round 3, right? So I think I think there's that. The other thing as well is that basically once you get to 2 hours 15, you don't start another round. You finish the round that you're playing,
Yeah.
so that it doesn't finish unfairly for either player. So it's the Juggernaut podcast, which I'm really loving actually, and I'm trying to get my head around. And we might even do a show on it because I think it's worth looking at because it is not the same as the generic.
Yeah, the selector, the Juggernaut selector.
There is so much open to it for you to play, and where you get your rules from as well, because you don't get because there's no theaters, so you can't get the rules from the theater. And also, if you got a campaign book that has rules and you've got the army book that has rules, you can only pick from one or the other.
Yeah.
So
You can't stack the rules.
Yeah, you can't stack the rules. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I'll talk about that about the Kingston tournament I was at in a minute. But yeah, no, I think the Juggernaut podcast is good. It seems to be picking up steam. Kingston ran it with it. They're talking about using that for the Canadian CTC next year in Ottawa for that. Critical Hits doing it next weekend in October. We're going to be doing it. All things being equal, we might even use it for the GT next year. I think it's quite a good pack. So, but then the Bolt Action Alliance missions, I think, are better. I think there's more.
They do have more. We had that discussion, right? I do think they've just got a little bit more chunk or chomp, or you can sink your teeth into a little bit better.
On this as well, I've put in. I added a couple of things. One is I added painting into this. Typically, painting is not in the Bolt Action tournaments. I think that I'm not ready yet to run an event where painting is part of the overall scoring. I think that might be something we do for the GT. But I think that there should be painting because I don't want to just recognize playing the game. I think we should recognize the painting in
The hobby as a whole.
the hobby as a whole. And I would actually in the future, like in the GT, I'd like to have it part of the scoring. And I'd also like to bring sportsmanship into it. But I think for a one-day tournament, I don't think it makes sense at this point. But there will be painting scores, a best painted. Also, there is. I've also put in the fact that you've got to submit your list. I think it was a week before the event. If you submit your list before that deadline, you get a bonus 2 tournament points, which is better than a draw, lesser than a win.
Yeah.
So 2 points can make the difference.
Well, like you're coming in and basically with an extra game under your belt.
Yeah, that's yeah. So I think hoping that that's going to push people to get their lists in, and I think the other thing is that I want, and then we're going to release the scenarios.
Yeah.
So I think that then it gives people a little bit of time to try and wrap their head around those scenarios and how their army is going to adapt. But I also think that if there are players who, I don't think that they would purposefully hand them in late.
But there
I
might be
think it's
people that don't hear about it and
don't have time and stuff. That it's still only 2 points, right? It's not a mountain for you to overcome. So there's still that. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I actually had. I'm going to be getting some trophies. Like Tista Minis is sponsoring it. Like the entry, the money from the players goes into that. So that's going to be could be up to, depending on the number of players, about $300 worth of prize support. And then Warlord Games, we've reached out to Warlord Games. They're sending stuff. So hopefully we'll have some good stuff there. And then there is going to be the trophies. And this I will speak to the trophies in a moment, but I got the trophy idea from Kingston Games when I went to the Kingston tournament.
oh, nice.
So that's pretty much it for Operation Catapult. I don't know if there's anything to add.
Well, where do people want to sign up?
Yeah, so they can go to either Tista Minis website and sign up there, or they can go through the Facebook page that takes them to the Tista Minis to get the tickets. And that's where they'll also, all the packs are, the mission packs. You don't know which missions, but that's the Bolt Action Alliance missions. The Tawny pack and the Juggernaut
Select.
podcast format background is there. So everything you need is there when you buy the tickets. So yeah, that should be on.
Sounds good. And you alluded a couple times to Kingston, so why don't we talk about Kingston now that I've switched the agenda around?
Yeah,
I scrolled too far. Sorry.
that's all right. Kingston was at Nexus Games, Kingston, and that was run by Paul Saunders and the D6 Dodgers. And I think that Paul, well, he was not, I think Paul was the TO for the CTC in May in Ottawa. So he's got some experience around the block. He's a Brit like me, actually just from not too far away in the UK, where I was from.
Well, isn't everything in the UK kind of close?
Yeah, that is true. Right, that is true. So yeah, it was drove through for 3 hours. It's the furthest I've driven for a tournament, but actually it goes by quite quickly. Like when you're listening to a podcast or what, I think I was listening to Dan Collins' Supernova, the Japanese one. So
Yeah.
it went by pretty quick. Found the store. It was right next to parking. You had to pay for parking, but the parking lot was literally right next to the store, so that was easy. And then, got in and played the games. So I had it where, was it Kev having technical difficulties?
Yeah, it looks like he may have froze. No, he's good.
Okay.
I don't know. what he's doing.
So we had it that it was using the Juggernaut format. I took my British Gurkhas. This is probably the last time I'll take it out in that format. I'm going to start playing with them as Maoris and New Zealanders and stuff just to try something different. But I took that. First game was against a guy called Kevin, who I've played before at Critical Hit. He's got to beat me last time. He took Germans, with SS Cavalry, and that was a good game, but I beat him in the last round for that. But that was good. Then the second game, I played Robert, who again I've played before. Critical Hit. He's beat me twice. I beat him once, and he took his. It was his Australians before, but this time it was his Italians, and his Italians beat me. No, sorry, it was a draw. Sorry, I forgot. Got too far ahead. He
That's
was
a
a
win
draw.
for Italians.
I was a win for Italians. But that came down to the wire. And then the third game was against Tony of Blood Red Skies fame, who was at our event, and he had Soviets with bomb dogs and a medium howitzer and other stuff, and he beat me, like cleared me out. Like, it was just, I don't know, not cleared me out. He completely outplayed me. I was too cautious. But if I'd have just gone on the offensive with my Gurkhas, I would have actually probably crushed him. But I was too cautious with my Gurkhas. So I think that there was 3 good games. I think I ended up coming 7th out of 12 players. So in the results wise, disappointing for me. But in fun wise, I enjoyed all the games, and the tables were gorgeous. Like every table was gorgeous. Like, it was just brilliant. So I just quickly wrote down what I would score, but for location, where it was, and that the store was great. It had lots of Flames of War, lots of bolt action, lots of terrain. I actually bought some more desert. Battlefield in a box, G9 stuff. So I got that, and so I give that a 5. The pack was excellent. The pack was so good, actually, I stole it for Tista Minis. So I tweaked it and put in our local community stuff and house rules, but I think that it was excellent. So give that 6. The TO Paul Saunders, he was brilliant. I think that there was probably a couple of scenarios I wouldn't choose that were there, but what I would do is say that he had 7 tables. There were 6 games being played, but he had 7. So 6. He had 7 tables set up. 6 tables were being played on. But he made sure that because there was the 7th table, that nobody played on the same table twice, because there was that extra spare table.
Yeah.
And also he picked the names for the first round out of a box. It put them on a table face down, and players just came up and took a name, and that's who was being played. And I would add that. So I would give Paul a 5, and then atmosphere. It was a great atmosphere. Like, it was really good. Enjoyed it. Players were a laugh, fun. Everyone's talking. So I give that a 5. So, which was good. The thing I liked, I mean, there were lots of prizes, and everyone walked away with stuff. I walked away with some silver dice, order dice. My favorite thing was, though, and again, I've stole this idea for us, and the graphic artist who actually created it is going to do it for us, was they had, for each, there was a best Axis player, best minor nations player, best allies player, best general, and there were like a propaganda poster from World War II, but it had written over it, like, nicely done, best ally general, right?
Nice.
And it was like kind of like this big, and it was in a frame like on a black edge frame, and it was really nice, but not that expensive at all to do. So he's going to so Sam, who also turned out to be the winner, and I think he had the American list, was like 16 dice. He is going to do that for our Tista Minis event for us. He's going to provide the images. I've just got to work with him to get those done, but they were so good. And I'd actually prefer to walk away with a nice trophy to hold up than a box of models.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Box models, right? So, but the box models doesn't show that I've won something. So that was it. So yeah, it was great. I had a good time. I definitely would go back again. I think they're going to do one next year. And I probably actually 3 hours isn't that long. So yeah.
Not compared to the 11 to go to Chicago.
Yeah, once you do Chicago, 3 hours is actually just down the road, right? So
Well, in Canada, anything within 3 hours is just down the road.
yeah. Although it's quite funny, you get some players that be like, I'm not driving for an hour and a half or whatever, and I'm thinking, hour and a half? If you're doing 90 minutes, dude, like, that's just down the road.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
the side of Toronto. You drive that.
really, the hardest part of driving around here when you go anywhere is going through Toronto to get to the other side. Like,
Yeah, and if it's early enough in the morning or late enough at night, you act like
you fly through.
early in the, I think
comparatively.
it was like 2 hours 40 minutes to get there,
Yeah.
and coming back a little busier, but it was still just under 3 hours.
Yeah.
So, and that's to West Toronto, right? That's because we're on the opposite side.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'll do it again.
Well, it sounds like you had a good time, which is the best. How many people did you say were there? 12?
12. Yeah,
12. Nice.
yeah. Well, there was a player that raged quit and left. So Paul, the TO had to jump in for the last game.
Right? Okay. Do you know the story, or do you just know that he rage quit?
I think that I think there was a bit of rage quit, like, because I think that the guy's first 2 games were like he was crushed, absolutely crushed. But I think he was a newer player,
Oh, okay.
so I don't know if it was I'm just not enjoying this and I'm out, or what. I mean, I've rage quit before and I felt terrible about it afterwards because it's stupid.
Yeah, I'm not trying to call anybody out. I was just wondering if it was like rage quit because I don't know what I'm doing. This isn't going my way, or is it the butting heads of rules and he got ruled?
No, I
out?
don't think it was. Not from what I understand, it wasn't the butting head of rules. I think it was just the results. I just think he was crushed in both games and was just like, I'm not just going to try a third. So
Oh, okay.
That's too bad. 'cause sometimes
everyone is. If I'm wrong.
Yeah, but I'd rather somebody left than not forced a bad game on somebody else for the third game. Like, I'd rather have a bye. Like, if I was playing Craig and Craig was like, that's it, I'm fucking out, I'm done, and he rages and leaves, I'd rather he left than play his game against me. I'd rather the bye or the TO step in, because it's not going to be fun for either one of us at that point. And then, like, so rage quit, leave, whatever you got to do to get your center back so that you can enjoy your next games.
I think though, rage quitting is selfish.
Oh, it is, definitely.
Right? Like, it's selfish. It's you're not thinking of the other player. You're not thinking of the other players. You're not thinking of that community of players. You're not thinking of the TO who's now probably going to sort that shit out. Like, there's that. So whatever your reason, unless you playing complete douchebags each game and you think, you know what, these guys are all douchebags and I'm just not doing this. But I'd still try and see it out and then leave. But that's my learning. Like I said, I've rage quitted once before and I had to learn from that. So
No,
Remember
I'm just
that.
saying that if some guy's not
yeah,
having
it was
fun,
a war tournament and I was just like this.
It was the TO of that tournament.
I know,
You
right?
bastard.
and I rage quit but I realized after time that I was being selfish, that it's just a game. You lose, you know, that's it. And I think though sometimes then I would take it too seriously. So you just like,
who did he play?
Yeah.
Who did he play? Did you play the big guy?
no, the big guy.
James,
when I rage quit?
James?
No.
It was Flames of War. We were
Yeah.
actually we were top tier players. It's just he had a couple bad games. That's all.
No, I was just wondering who he was playing against.
I think my first game I won. The second game was a tie, and then the third game, and it was a long game. That's the second one, and then the third one was I completely was out deployed, and the opponent had planned for that mission, knowing it was coming up, and his army was built for that mission. And so within literally 2 turns, I knew the game was over.
That wasn't against me. That sounds like something I would do.
No, it wasn't you. Wasn't you. But I rage quit, right? And I was just like, okay, I'm done. I'm out. I'm not going to play in this anymore because I'm not in a good spot at the moment.
Yeah.
But I could have said to my opponent, I need 5 minutes. You do what you need to do. I'm going to go outside. I need to calm down because I'm just being a dick, right? Yeah. And then come back in and be like, let's play on, and just let it play out. But
that's just
I've learned from that. I don't rage quit now, hopefully. Yeah.
But everybody's got one.
You know
in them
where it's
somewhere.
okay when you go to Adepticon and you're playing a GT, and you book something else as an option on day 2. That's where you see a lot of it, where you see players drop out after the first round and don't show up for the second day.
Yeah, that's right.
They've got options for the second day, right?
That's what I hate is like, oh, well, I've lost the first round. I'm not going to win. I'm not going to play anymore. I would like when it comes down to the two, somebody's in a bad place. They can't play. Their head's not in the game. Or somebody just fucks off because he knows he can't get first and it's not worth his time anymore because he's there for the prizes.
But I think I agree
hate
with
the
you,
guy that's not there for the prizes. The guy that rage quits, hey, fuck, we all have bad days. I respect that.
But I think though, especially Adepticon, I think though, if you're gonna quit, just like you just don't want to play anymore, because you got off, just go tell the TO that you are no longer playing.
Yeah.
Because the fact is, everyone's hanging around with their thumbs up their ass, waiting for you to turn up.
Yeah.
And you don't start it starts
4 guys drop. 4 guys
whatever.
are looking for games, and they could have put those 4 guys together.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's one thing. Yeah, I think just tell the TO.
Yeah.
Yep. They can work around it. There's a tournament method called Path to Victory that's popular in 40K. That only one location that I know of in Age of Sigmar does it. And I don't like going to that location because it's 2 hours away. And I don't play to win. I win best painted and best sport way more than I place. And I so that's where most of my little trophies come from. But I still don't want to do that 2 hour drive because you play 5 games, you're paying for a hotel. You match up against the best player. You're playing Jordan or Ridge or somebody or Carl first round, and so you lose because they teach you. They take you to school. They show you some things, and now because Pact to Victory says the earlier your loss, you don't get to place. Yeah. So you have no shot at that third place because it goes to the people whose losses. Yeah, well, not strength of schedule. Yeah, strength of schedule would work because you played the guy who won the tournament. Yeah. Pat the Victory says, the longer you went without losing, the higher you'll place in. So when everybody has 3 wins, whoever had the latest loss gets higher.
Okay, I still can't hear you guys.
No, we can hear you. Well, it sounds like you had a great time. I wish I had made the drive out or was able to make the drive out with you. So let's get this moving again because we kind of diverged like we usually do, like all podcasts do. Hobby plans for the next few weeks. We have events coming up. Any painting, games played, games coming up. Some of us are in a campaign. So we'll start with Matt. Have you got what's on your hobby plan? What's on your hobby agenda? And have you played any games recently?
Well, I played you last week. That was learning experience. So, okay, let's go back.
Everybody's back.
I'm sorry?
I'm back. I can hear you again.
Oh, okay.
Oh, So I've been working on my Dieppe themed list for to go with Craig, his commandos. And with the upcoming tournament that we're doing at Tista Minis, I was going to expand that. And to keep it kind of simple, I was going to go with just stuff that I already had on the painting table. But then I realized it's not a good list. It looked fun.
Lunge mines are a thing.
Yeah. But so anyway, yeah. And then after talking to you guys, I thought I came up with a better list that might be more playable. And I started placing my order with Warlord and thinking, okay, I gotta get this and this and this, and then went through my pile of shame and found some of it. So I built the 25 pounder. I was just cleaning up the MMG. This week I built some commandos, which I realized I'm going to do as Royal Marines, because at Dieppe they were on a beach closer to my Canadians than the commandos were, and they have the same rules, so it makes it easy, and same models. So yeah, I've been building and painting that, getting that ready for Tista Minis in November.
And you didn't join the campaign. What was that excuse?
Yeah, mostly with the amount of on-call and that I've been doing lately, it'd be kind of hard. I feel like I'd be missing some. And
oh, I see. One game in 3 weeks is pretty tough, yeah.
Well, there's other things going on too, so it's just a bad time of year to get it.
I did this because that's where Matt is when we do the thing. He's right.
He is. So yeah, that's good. And I saw your painted Canadians. They look fabulous. As soon as we can figure out how in Canada we can get rid of that shine. If anybody else has got a product out there, I've got one.
Did you try brush on? What about brush on instead of spraying?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess no one else really knows what we were talking about because we were talking about this before the podcast.
I don't know if you. I don't know if you can still pick it up. But
okay,
matte varnish by Liquid Tech.
Brush on.
I blow it through my airbrush, water it down a little bit, or thin it down a bit.
Yeah, no. So when you stepped away, I was just saying that I guess no one on the list, if anyone was listening to us, would know. But we were talking about dull coat and how I used to have. I used to use Tamiya. And that was great. But you mentioned to me that I guess they changed one of the chemicals that's allowed to be used in it in Canada.
Yeah, I think I can't remember entirely. This is going back a couple of years ago. There was a big. I remember it. And I only heard about it because a bunch of hobbyists. This is going back to when Hobby Kingdom was open, or it was just shutting down. Like it was that long ago. There was a big push. Everybody's like, buy what you can when you can because you can't get this anymore. They changed the labeling rules. This is why for a while it was hard to get some of Citadel's paints into the country. Remember their rattle cans weren't available, and it was around that time that chemical X was no longer allowed to be put in, but that was also what made the matte. So I was told is what gave you that grid matte finish. So everybody was looking for matte sprays that they could hold on so they didn't have to look for alternatives later. So they were clearing out stores everywhere. Like I remember, guys, there used to be like one of those military surplus stores / model store that like nobody went to because they didn't carry games. It only carried like military, basically models, and they went in there and cleaned it out too. Like so So
I find the low still works. The acrylic
satin is not matte.
Satin's not matte.
Satin's what you put on skin.
Yeah.
Skin.
Close
Put
enough.
satin on
I find it's close enough.
Okay, so Kevin, what have you been doing? What have you got planned?
I gotta finish Stalingrad, get that painted, get some more black primer, and finish up a bunch of buildings for Waterloo. And then I got to finish my Germans for Adepticon because I'd like to have that done before Christmas so I don't have to rush through it a freaking a week beforehand. I got a couple things I have to paint for my cousin for the DC universe or Marvel universe, whatever that game is. That's it. Yeah,
Nice.
whole bunch of mismatch.
I think that we should tweak this a little bit, and actually get people to commit to paint something between now and the next podcast in 4 weeks.
Man, somebody's been listening to the Tommies. I'm gonna be that guy on the Tommies that's like, yeah, I never make my painting.
Paint this.
I will commit to painting this.
So
Okay, we'll
Kevin
do
is
that
going
at the
to
end.
paint
Well,
the
let's
sheet.
finish what everybody's hobby is, and then we'll do the hobby
Yeah, that's fair
commitment.
enough.
Sean, what do you got going on? I know there was an event coming up this weekend that you weren't going to.
Well, no, not. Yeah, that's right. X Planet's Age of Sigmar is this weekend. I'm not going to that because we're finishing off. Because this weekend I'm prepping for a BattleTech tournament, so I'm playing a couple games tomorrow with some buddies in the falls, and then tomorrow night we finish off the Dragonlance module. The Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen will be finished tomorrow night because we're getting rid of 5e. We're moving on to something called the One Ring by a company out of Sweden called Sweden. I think it's Sweden, somewhere in the maybe it's Norway. I can't remember, but it's Free League Publishing. It's a completely different role playing system. We're really excited about. So that's why I'm not at X Planet tomorrow. Next weekend, I'm at a Shatterpoint tournament at Tista Minis. Following weekend, Age of Sigmar tournament at Mecca. And then a couple weeks after that is the Bolt Action tournament. When's Bolt? No, a couple weeks after that is the BattleTech tournament at Torchlight, and then back to Tista for the Age of Sigmar tournament. And I'm in a few leagues. I'm in a Shatterpoint league, a Bolt Action league, and 2 Age of Sigmar leagues. So I'm playing all those. So, but otherwise, this Sunday I'm going to start the display board. I'm going to start cutting foam for Adepticon, get that underway, and then I guess, then I want to paint up the new Italians coming. I'm about to get from you for the Alpinis, but then I got to turn my attention to the for Special Service Forces. But that might not be in the next month. It'll probably come over Christmas.
I got a book from the Canadian military history on the Staghound. So, yeah, I'll just go into mine. For my, I've been searching for the proper markings for the Staghound for our Adepticon force, because I'm going to be fielding 3 of them. I wanted them to be as up to date as good. I actually found somebody that wrote a book, and by a book I mean a pamphlet, like 30 pages. It is majority of the book is referencing, or the pictures anyways, reference the 12th Manitoba Dragoons. Unfortunately for me, they were in Normandy, not in Sicily. The Canadian Royal Canadian Dragoons were in Italy, and but there is one picture there, and it looks similar. So I think the only thing that changes is obviously the Canadian the division badge on the right side of the front. So it looks like I'll have everything period appropriate for my model. So that's what I was looking for, and it just showed up, which was awesome. Then so I got my Staghounds all ready to go to be printed. I started making I found some great STLs for the Japanese so that I can have, because there's so many infantry, I don't want just Warlord miniatures over and over and over and over again. So I found a nice somebody put out a Kickstarter called Sons of Yamato, and they put out a whack of STLs for in 28 mil for the Japanese. So I've printed off a bunch, and then I have to go get all the accompanying Warlord models to go with it, so that I have all the platoons look similar, but they're a little bit different. Like I've got guys that are running down with just rifles, guys that are running down with rifles that flags on them, guys that are running down with rifles in a backpack, guys that have rifles, flag and backpack, and then I'll have the warlord ones as well. And then I'm trying to find if anybody knows where you can get a Type 4 howitzer for the Japanese, or what it looks like, or something that I can proxy, because I need that for the Japanese as well. So I've been mainly going to town on that. And then gaming wise, I actually finally got 2 games in the last 2 weeks. Once against Matt, trying out my Japanese, and then again in a campaign against Sean. My first campaign game was against Sean. I managed to squeak out a win in both of them. Not like it was much deserved. Sean's game and mine was really interesting in the sense that we had to use the bolt action missions, so we rolled key positions, and it was really interesting because you got the key positions. So there's the 4, we ended up with 4 objectives in the 4 quadrants, roughly offset from middle towards the center, and I went hard on my left. He went hard on his left, and then so we kind of ended up playing lengthwise against each other instead of side by each, or long edge against long edge. But because we both twisted that way, we ended up short edge against short edge, meeting in the center. Flamethrowers turned out to be a thing. I was trying that spigot mortar again, the 320 millimeter spigot. I rolled. First turn, I rolled a 6 and dropped it right on him and one of his units, and managed to, just because he had his unit strung out, the way I could place the template to get a majority of that unit, still clip the anti-tank gun. And then the very next turn, I dropped another 6 with it. So I still don't know if this thing is worth it, but if I roll 6s like this, I guess it is. But it was brutal. But then in payback, Sean did the most disgustingly.
It was beautiful.
Oh, it was. How did I phrase it to the guys? It was the most.
I can describe it for you.
Yeah,
I needed 6s to hit, so I said, okay.
You needed 7s to hit.
Oh no, I needed 7s. I said I just got to roll 6s, so I rolled a 6, followed by another 6, and then I said, okay, then I just got to roll a 6 to get you, and I rolled another 6, and so you blow up, and then you dared me to roll another 6, and indeed I rolled the 4th 6 in a row. The 5th die roll was a 5.
Yeah.
But the key was to say just roll 6s before I rolled
I just got to roll 6s. I just have to roll 6s. And then every time he dropped a 6. And then on the 4th time, or was it the 5th time, I looked at him and I said, so you just have to roll 6s, right? And he dropped another 6. And I'm like, are you sure you just have to roll 6s? And he dropped it and he finally got a 5. But it was still a 5. Like, it's a 5. That still would have killed a vet. So I was just like, yeah, things that people do.
Do you remember how many points the spigot mortar is?
Not off the top of my head. I want to say around. It's sub 100.
There's more than a regular mortar.
Yeah, because it's under the artillery slot too.
Okay.
It's heavy though, right?
Yeah, it's a heavy mortar. It doesn't get the plus to penetration. It only gets a +1 like a light mortar. But instead, it does D6 +2 pins when it
seems
hits.
Worth it.
So you really get a lot of pins out of it, which, I mean, this game is more about pinning than killing.
Yeah, because you put 7 pins on that one unit. I had to rally.
Yeah,
and
he rallies and wipes all 7 pins off.
It was a good roll. Just roll 6s.
Just roll 6s. So there was a lot of that.
Yeah, just roll 6s because you have to rally. So if you roll double 6, you don't rally.
No, he made his.
That's true.
Yes, he did the command. He got the command, and then he's like, "Is it D3?" And I'm like, "No, it's D6 +1." And he throws down a 6, and I'm like, "Well, I guess all those 7 pins that I just put on there are gone."
Yeah, but it's just like the guy who rushes the tank and makes it go down. That's 2 turns.
Oh yeah. So
right.
So I had 2 lunge mines that I managed to get onto his tank, and they both hit. They both penetrated.
Before I activated the tank.
Yeah,
both those turns,
so it was
5 dice in a row.
Last dice, run out.
Yeah.
First dice, charge. Much like I did to Matt, except for the second time Matt got the first dice and shot him off the table. Both times I got first dice. Both times I penetrated. Both times I rolled 1 on damage, so it just downed him. He took an extra
That was
pin, so I put 4 pins in 2 turns and basically stopped the tank from moving, which, looking back, pretty much won me the game because the tank couldn't go forward to remove my inexperienced. Because the Italians have got a lot of machine guns, which is really not what the Japanese inexperienced large units want to see. 20 shots coming at them. So that was an interesting game. I thought it was really fun. It was definitely... I'm definitely going to get rid of one of the artillery, and I'm leaning towards the mortar, but I've just been so lucky with it that...
I would keep the mortar.
I don't know. But other than that,
You know what we should do? Next episode, we should just talk about mortars.
it's funny you should say that.
The mortar show.
Other than that, yeah, I guess so. Upcoming, I have the November 25th tournament. Then that's it for me. Craig, what do you got for hobby?
I've got my league game next Friday.
Who are you playing?
Brad. A guy called Brad. I don't know what his army is. My army is Commandos.
Yeah.
I've taken my Adepticon list and then expanded it. I don't expect to do very well with them. They're all veteran lists. They don't really have anything funky about that. I mean, they have some good rules, but they're not an easy list to play with. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, they all have tough fighter. They've all got tough as boots, so they get, for every 3 guys, they get an extra dice in combat. So typically I've chosen 7-man units, so hopefully that's... I did try to decide, though, between 2... although, actually, I just realised I built them to a Juggernaut format. But there's actually... for the league, it's actually generic, right?
Yep.
So I could actually have I could have 2 of my commandos that get tough fighter and tough as boots, and then I could have 2 of my units that have tough fighter and mountain warrior, which means I get 9-inch run through rough terrain.
Yep.
That might be good.
Yeah, Sean, remember that with the Italians, they don't have that assault out of rough terrain.
I know. I can't wait to play for Special Service Forces.
Yeah.
Well, they can, but they can only go 6 inches, where for Special Service Forces can go 9. I'm just looking up Perry Miniature English Cavalry for the Italians right now.
Yeah.
Did you add some armor to your commandos?
I did. I have a truck and, well, not armored, a truck and a Jeep, but I've also got a Crusader Mark III, which is it's got the twin light autocannon, and it's close, and I've never played with one, but I'm so looking forward to it because it's going to be a nasty, that is just going to wreck small vehicles and any infantry unit that it sees. So I'm looking forward to that. So that should be good. And I've built the 4-star. The only thing I'm waiting on is a Jeep, which I've ordered. So that's that. And then we've got the tournament on the 25th, which I'm TOing. Now, one cool thing is that Matt and I are actually working on a scenario and lists for an article for Warlord Games.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're doing Dieppe. We're doing the Dieppe scenario, and with some lists and some rules. So, yeah, we've been talking with Warlord Games, and that's what we're going to work on. And we'll update you when we know more. But
Brad,
so,
oh, sorry.
So we've basically just been started researching and doing. We've got loads of books and stuff. So
Nice. Brad's playing Germans, by the way. I just looked it up for
it's
you.
playing Germans. It doesn't say what type of Germans, does it?
No,
Or
just country. That's all it says for anybody.
just Germans? Okay. Yeah, that'd be interesting. There's some good German lists now you can get. Some really good German lists.
Yeah,
I was actually looking at Stalingrad Jaeger, Panzerjäger warriors that they ignore all rough ground. I just don't care.
Don't care. I'm out of
Don't
here.
care. I can run 12 through the woods. I don't care. So that's kind of. Sorry, and let me add to that. Then after that, there is the Soviet stuff to paint for Adepticon. So I've got a Soviet list to build, which is a Stalingrad list. And I'm thinking with the new Case Blue book of doing Hungarians.
I
Just
think
something different.
I'm holding off on my Soviet list for Adepticon to find out what is in Case Blue for him. Because I think I might... Because if we're doing the Commandant's house and there's a railway nearby...
Do the train.
Yeah, I'm not sure which. I can't remember offhand which side of the river the railway line was, but
Yeah, I can't either. And I kind of want to ask Dave what he's building on his map, but I kind of don't either because I don't want him to say no right out of hand. I just want to show up and put my railway tracks down, or look at his on the map already and put my railway on it.
Yeah. I don't think that near
was.
Commissioner's house that there was a railway line.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think it's on that side of the river, though.
I think it's on that side of the river, but I think it's further north
Yeah.
of the house,
I think so too,
Where's
but
the
I
house?
can't quite remember.
closer to the river Volga, right?
Yeah, the house was more by the river, and the rail station and stuff was north of that, closer to
Yeah.
the tractor factory.
Yeah. But it all, like
okay.
I said, I don't know what his map looks like. Like
Yeah.
how is he doing the house center? Is he doing it to the quarter? Like, it'll be interesting.
Knowing him based on the little I met him at last year and trying to get me drunk, all of us, especially you, Derrick, I wouldn't be surprised if he did a main table with a complete sewer system of tunnels and whatnot underneath it.
I can
Like
see
it
it.
would not be at all if you could drop down a manhole and there was a whole complete.
That guy
city
is
sewer system.
he is awesome at doing that stuff. That's for sure. Is that it? Did we cover everybody for hobby? So I guess we got to do our painting challenge.
And it could be anything. It doesn't have to be Warlord games.
Just
I
what
know
is your
Sean's got-
what are you
So-
going to paint?
I will go first, and I'm going to paint. So it's 4 weeks, right, between this one and the next podcast.
Yep.
So I am going to paint 2 units of commandos. They're 7-man units. So I'm going to get 2 units painted between now and then.
All right, Sean, what are you going to paint?
I'm going to paint this big pig for my orc army, and it just came out. It's an orc riding a big pig, and it's actually got 2 other orcs who stand to the sides on little platforms swinging axes.
Nice.
So I'm
So
going to paint
instead of the wheels that turn, they just axes.
yeah.
Nice.
I'm going to paint that.
Kevin, what are you going to paint?
I'm going to paint this wolf. Actually, no. You know what I think I'm going to do?
Well, if you're going to paint that wolf, I want to see some intense blending.
No, I
Actually,
think
I'm
I'm
also going to paint the Witches of Dathomir too. I've got to paint these guys.
No, I'm going to paint this thing for DC Comics. It's a Red Skull's tank for my cousin, for my nephews and stuff, so that they can use it as gaming and whatnot.
Jesus Christ. Red Skull is
I'm also gonna paint-
MC, not MU, I mean. Marvel, not
I
DC.
don't know, whatever he is.
I'm also going to paint this Italian artillery piece. I'm also
There
going to
you
have
go.
that painted for the next thing.
Actually, I say bloody hell, but you know what? I know you'll do it, Sean, so...
Yeah. And he'll have it
He'll
done
have
by
it-
next week, calling us all up that he needs to put more on his painting list. Matt, what are you going to paint?
Oh, jeez. What can I commit to? So my tanks are done for Diap. My Dingo's done. The
Ate my baby.
Bren carrier's done. So I guess I'll finish all the infantry, minus the commandos, because I don't think I could get that done. I got 3 units of infantry, MMG, a howitzer, the HQ, flamethrower, probably a couple other little things in there, chaplain, Fort Observer, and all that. So the Canadian part of the infantry for DF will have done, minus the basing, because that I need to work with Craig and get our display stand done, and I don't want to rush that.
That's the best thing about having Sean as my partner. He's already done it.
Yeah, it's already done.
I just have to show him how. I should have gave you that misprinted staghorn so you could have seen how big it was.
Oh, I need it for the road. Yeah.
Yeah, for the road to know how big your road's got to be.
Yeah.
You can use it as a staghound.
Which?
I'm just going to use a.
Oh yeah, you could use it as a busted up, blown up one.
On the side.
I am going to
That's a good idea.
paint a People's Militia, so a 15-man unit for the Japanese, and an MG platoon for the Japanese. I want to do my Staghounds, but I don't think my decals, the decals that I want, will be here in time, so I don't want to, because I still got to figure out who has them. So I don't want to, and I won't be able to weather it until the decals are on it, so I can only get them. I will get them to the point where decals have to go on, short of doing the grease and the grime and everything else. So base colored, how's that? On the 4 Staghounds.
I'll finish painting these 4 BattleTech mechs too. This is the Calhounds. I'll finish them up.
Calhounds, nice. Hey, I found on a drive that I was looking at the other day, all of the BattleTech books ever written. If you're
Yeah, I know, right? There's a lot of them.
Yeah, if you're interested in them, I'll give you a copy. All right, so that's our painting challenge. Now that we've added a new segment to our podcast, Craig.
Is there incentives to this challenge?
Yeah,
Very
bragging
well.
rights.
Just bragging rights. Yeah,
Okay.
just bragging rights.
Craig,
So it's
might
not
have
gonna
to
Derrick
about
yet.
it.
What are we gonna do?
The Soviet.
What are we gonna do
When
next
we do
time?
the Soviets, maybe we'll do something.
Yeah.
No.
You talk about you've not got much to do.
Pardon? What, for my Soviets?
Yeah,
I got
so it's
lots.
probably going to be like about 600 points. That's not much.
Yeah. but it's all infantry.
4,000. I think it's 4,000 points per side. So it depends
Yeah,
on
but
how many people
between
we
this-
have playing.
Is
Anybody-
it who's? Yeah, we'll
We gotta
figure it out.
that out. So that brings us to the end. Sean or Craig, what are we doing next time?
We're doing mortars. We're going to do the show. Well, basically, a couple of things. So one will be talking about if any of us ended up going to critical hit event. We'll talk about that if we went. Secondly, we'll be talking a bit more about the format for the. Oh my gosh, my brain is gone. It's late.
Catapult.
The November 25th event, the Operation Catapult, we'll talk about that. We're going to cover mortars and artillery. Should you use them? If you use them, how do you use them? And any other cool armies tricks that you can do with them. And then see if people have met the challenge and done the painting.
Sounds good. All right, that's it for me.
Okay, everyone. Well, thanks very much, everyone. Thanks for listening. And watch Sisu if you've not watched it already, because it is awesome.
Sisu,
Will do.
nice. All right.
Okay.